the first points in the career of Victor Wembanyama.
Never seen, before this year, I had never seen and lived with such responsibility inside of a team. Until the very end of the season, I was 100% dedicated to playing basketball, you know.
Victor Wembanyama is a giant amongst giants. Measured at 7.4, the French phenom changes the game into something totally different from what we envision concerning basketball. Most fans would credit his astonishing height when remembering his achievements, but only a few understand that his game awareness trumps every other advantage he possesses. How does someone so young dominate with such relative ease? How did one prospect go from a flashing talent in France to the first overall draft in the 2023 NBA draft, and why do they call him the alien? Is it because at 7'4" he seems to defy the normal limits of human height, or because of his surprising agility on the court in tense moments? More about that later. That's the story of Victor Wembanyama, the player rewriting the future of basketball. Childhood. Born on January 4th, 2004, Victor Wembanyama is a basketball star from the suburbs of Paris and Le Chesnay. It was clear from the beginning that Victor's life would be nothing but normal, as his father, Felix Wembanyama, was a long jumper athlete himself. What's more, his mother, Elodie Wembanyama, was a former basketball player and a basketball coach. His older sister, Eve, tried to make a go at professional-level basketball, and his youngest brother, Oscar, was already starting to make some waves in youth athletics. So sportiness and being extremely tall was given in inheritance to Wembanyama, and even as a little boy, Victor felt different because of his height. When he was 10 years old, he was tall enough for the scout to mistake him for the coach. Imagine what surprise it brought when they found out that this giant was just a boy, destined to become special. Growing up, Victor wasn't just surrounded by sports, he was enveloped in it. His family lived and breathed athleticism. His father had competed in track and field, and his mother had played basketball at a high level. His older sister, Eve, pursued a professional basketball career, and his younger brother, Oscar, was already making waves in youth sports. Yet, Victor wasn't just about physical prowess. He had a mind as sharp as his jump shot. In school, Victor was known not just for his height, but for his intellect. His French teacher, François Salayoun, remembers a student who stood out for more than just his stature. Victor had a natural curiosity and a love for literature. When asked to write about the realization of a dream, he didn't follow the expected path. Instead of writing about basketball, Victor crafted a poignant tale about a married couple facing life's toughest challenges. Even then, he was thinking beyond the court, seeing the world in a way few others could. But despite his towering height and impressive intellect, Victor was still a teenager with all the quirks and mischief that came with it. Picture this: a classroom, students focused on their lessons, and there's Victor, his lanky frame folded over his desk, secretly playing on his phone. When the teacher asked a question, Victor answered without missing a beat, surprising everyone. "I answered the question, like, out loud while being on my phone because I knew the answer," he recalls, laughing. The teacher's reaction? A mix of disbelief and amusement. It was a small moment, but it captured the essence of Victor. A kid living in two worlds, one foot in the ordinary, the other in the extraordinary. But Victor's life was never going to be ordinary for long. At just 13, he led his team to a French championship, a victory that brought him to tears. "I cried that day," he admits, the emotion still fresh. It wasn't just a win, it was the moment he fell in love with winning, with the pursuit of greatness. As he grew, so did the attention. Scouts, media, everyone wanted to see the boy who was rapidly becoming a sensation. As exceptional as his height was, he possessed something else too: his diverse skill set, excelling in everything from three-point shooting to playmaking and his passing ability. By 14, it was clear Victor was headed for the NBA. But despite the growing spotlight, his parents worked hard to keep him grounded, to remind him of the values that would carry him forward: humility, hard work, and the drive to always be better. Professional career, Eurocup 2019-2020. Victor Wembanyama's professional journey began quietly, but it didn't take long for the world to notice that something special was brewing. In the 2019-20 season, Wembanyama, just 15 years old, stepped onto the court for Nanterre 92's senior team. It was only for 31 seconds in a Eurocup game against Brescia, but those seconds marked the beginning of what would soon become an extraordinary career. At such a young age, he was already making history as the second youngest player to ever appear in the Eurocup. That was just the first hint of what was to come. The road wasn't easy. Victor spent most of that season bouncing between Nanterre's under-21 team and their senior squad. He wasn't always the star on the court, but he was learning, growing, and most importantly, waiting for his moment. In some ways, Wembanyama was a little undercooked, still developing his ball handling ability and passing skills then. Soon, though, his moment came at the Adidas Next Generation Tournament, ANGT, in February 2020. In a game against Zaragoza's under-18 team, Wembanyama exploded for 22 points, 15 rebounds, and an ANGT record 9 blocks. He dominated the tournament, earning all tournament team honors and leading in blocks. It was a breakout performance that signaled to the world that Victor was not just tall, he was a proper talent. But like any young athlete, he faced setbacks. In the 2020-21 season, Wembanyama suffered a stress fracture in his fibula. It was a tough blow, sidelining him for 8 long weeks. But true to form, Victor didn't let this injury define him. While his critics, most prominent of them being the big man Shaq O'Neal, doubt his unicorn status, Victor knows that compared with greatness could only mean he is doing something right.
When it gets to half, then you put $20. You bring it back to full.
When he returned, he came back stronger, more determined. By May 2021, he was making headlines again, recording season highs of 14 points and 10 rebounds in a crucial win over Orléans-Loiret. His performances became more consistent, and his impact on the court grew with every game.
Wasn't injured was this play where we saw him slide. Again, nothing he can prevent. His left foot slid out here on the court, and then he goes down, but look at what happens with his right knee.
By the end of the season, Wembanyama was named Pro A Best Young Player, a title that spoke volumes about his potential. He had started in 10 of 18 Pro A games, averaging 6.8 points and 4.7 rebounds per game, all while coming back from a serious injury. His stats in the Espoir League were even more impressive, with averages of 13.4 points, 8.6 rebounds, and 3.2 blocks per game. Victor was no longer just a promising talent, he was becoming a game changer.
Points, 10 rebounds, 3.5 assists, a steal, and leading the league with 3.5 blocks per game, while also making 1.7 threes per game.
When he finally opted to leave Nanterre, it wasn't just a career move, it was the beginning of his ascent to the top of the basketball world. The world was beginning to take notice, and the young Frenchman was ready to seize every opportunity that came his way. Time at ASVEL. Victor Wembanyama's time at ASVEL was supposed to be the next big step in his already promising career. When he signed a 3-year contract on June 29, 2021, it felt like the perfect move. ASVEL, one of France's top teams competing in both the Pro A and the EuroLeague, seemed like the ideal stage for Victor to showcase his talents. But the journey was far from smooth.
ASVEL, securing the Pro A title in his sole season with the team in 2022 to 2023. MVP award, making history as the youngest recipient of the honor. Additionally, he clinched the Pro A Best Defender accolade while leading the league in scoring, rebounds.
The start of the season was rocky. Wembanyama was sidelined for a month due to illness. When he finally made his EuroLeague debut on October 1st, fans were eager to see him in action. But it was a brief appearance, just 3 minutes on the court and only 1 block recorded. It wasn't the explosive debut everyone had hoped for. Then came the injuries. First, a fractured finger in November that kept him out for weeks. Just when he was getting back into form, another setback struck. A bone bruise in his right shoulder during a game against Zenit St. Petersburg. This time, the recovery was estimated at 4 to 6 weeks. The injuries were relentless, each one chipping away at the momentum he was trying to build. Even with these obstacles, Wembanyama had his moments. In February, he returned to the court, and on April 3rd, he delivered a season-high 25 points, 7 rebounds, and 3 blocks in a dominant 85-65 win over Le Portel. It was a reminder of his potential, a glimpse of the star he was destined to become. Just a few days later, he dropped 18 points in a narrow EuroLeague loss to Olimpia Milano, his career high in the competition. It was another sign that, when healthy, Victor was a force to be reckoned with.
Meneur britannique, longtemps absent cette saison. Il a joué avec Charles Noabou, international ivoirien, Benoît Mangin.
But just as things seemed to be turning around, another blow struck. A psoas muscle injury during a Pro A semifinal game against JDA Dijon ended his season prematurely. The disappointment was palpable. Wembanyama watched from the sidelines as his team went on to win their third consecutive Pro A championship without him. The frustration of being unable to contribute during such a crucial moment was overwhelming. Despite the setbacks, Wembanyama's talent was undeniable. He was once again named Pro A Best Young Player, averaging 9.4 points and 5.1 rebounds per game in the league. In the Euro League, he averaged 6.5 points and 3.8 rebounds per game, finishing second in voting for the EuroLeague Rising Star Award. The promise was there, shining through the adversity.
Opted out of his contract, and I tried to dig in what happened, because it's unusual for a number one draft prospect and number one pick.
Yet, as the season came to an end, Wembanyama faced a tough decision. Despite assurances from ASVEL's president Tony Parker to build the team around him, Victor opted out of his contract. The decision was surprising but understandable. After a season marred by injuries, it was clear that Wembanyama needed a fresh start, a new environment where he could truly flourish.
There was LeBron James or Michael Jordan's team, their rookie years either. They're in a complete rebuild where they got a hell of a start with this kid. He has talent and potential that we have never seen in the NBA.
Metropolitans, 92. Victor Wembanyama's time with Metropolitans 92 was nothing short of a revelation. When he signed a 2-year contract with the team on July 4th, 2022, it was clear he was ready to make his mark. Drawn by head coach Vincent Collet's reputation for nurturing young talent, Wembanyama saw this as the perfect opportunity, and it didn't take long for the world to take notice. His U.S. debut in October 2022 against the NBA G League Ignite was electric. All eyes were on him, including those of over 200 scouts and NBA executives. The stakes were high, but Wembanyama delivered. In the first game, he dropped 37 points, swatted away 5 shots, and grabbed 4 rebounds. The crowd buzzed. He was just getting started. In the second game, he upped the ante. 36 points, 11 rebounds, and a victory for Metropolitans 92. The basketball world was officially on notice. As the Pro A season unfolded, Wembanyama's dominance became undeniable. Game after game, he delivered performances that left fans and critics in awe. On November 4th, 2022, he posted a career-high 33 points against Limoges CSP, solidifying his status as a force to be reckoned with. By December, he was in full stride, racking up 32 points, 10 rebounds, and 4 blocks in yet another victory. His momentum was unstoppable.
Trying to learn, man. 15 different languages, man, by the time I'm 40. But I'm going to kind of turn it down and commentate myself. Victor?
Named captain of the France team at the LNB All-Star Game, Wembanyama didn't disappoint. He led his team to victory and became the youngest MVP in the game's history. But the season wasn't just about accolades. On January 9th, 2023, he made a game-winning put-back dunk with just 3.5 seconds left, showcasing his clutch gene and further cementing his legend.
The internet. He takes a 3, misses it, somehow gets his own rebound, and throws it down.
By the end of the season, Wembanyama had swept the awards: MVP, Best Defender, Best Scorer, Best Young Player, and Best Blocker. It was a season for the ages, and despite falling short in the finals, his legacy with Metropolitans 92 was firmly established. Victor Wembanyama had arrived, and the basketball world was ready for what came next. San Antonio Spurs. Since being associated with the San Antonio Spurs, Victor Wembanyama has been sensational. Selected first overall in the 2023 NBA Draft, he became the third #1 pick in Spurs history, following the legendary footsteps of David Robinson and Tim Duncan. Expectations were sky high, and Wembanyama didn't just meet them, he shattered them.
With the first pick in the 2023 NBA Draft, the San Antonio Spurs select Victor Wembanyama.
From his first steps onto the court during the NBA Summer League, it was clear that something special was happening. His debut may have been modest with just 9 points and 8 rebounds, but it was in his second game that Wembanyama truly announced his arrival. With 27 points and 12 rebounds, He demonstrated why he was the most anticipated draft pick in years. The Spurs, recognizing his potential, wisely decided to rest him for the remainder of the Summer League, preserving their new star for the battles ahead. The regular season was where Wembanyama began to etch his name into NBA history. His debut against the Dallas Mavericks was solid, putting up 15 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 blocks. But it was just a taste of what was to come. A few weeks later, on November 2nd, he exploded for 38 points and 10 rebounds in a stunning win over the Phoenix Suns, joining the ranks of LeBron James and Kevin Durant as the only teenagers to achieve such numbers. It was a performance that had the basketball world buzzing. Was this the next great Spurs dynasty in the making?
Right off the bat, inside, Gafford gets it over Wembanyama. Doncic gives it up. Washington drives.
Wembanyama continued to dazzle, delivering clutch performances and rewriting the record books. His 20-point, 10-rebound game against the Toronto Raptors, where he also swatted away 5 shots, evoked memories of a young Tim Duncan. But this was no Duncan clone. Wembanyama brought his own flair, his own style, that left fans and commentators alike in awe. The blocks, the rebounds, the points, they kept coming game after game.
Swatted away by Victor Wembanyama. Victor gets his first block, now takes his first 3 and drains it.
But the most gobsmacking moment came on December 8th, when he dropped 21 points and 20 rebounds on the Chicago Bulls, becoming the youngest player to ever do this in the NBA's existence. Performance of the sort that had even hardened analysts scrambling for superlatives. How in the world could a player this young and this new to the league already be so dominant?
See why Chicago was excited before the season.
Wembanyama's impact wasn't just felt in his stats. His presence on the court, his ability to change the game on both ends, and his uncanny knack for being in the right place at the right time set him apart. On February 12th, he recorded his second career triple-double with 27 points, 14 rebounds, and an astonishing 10 blocks. It was the kind of performance that made you sit up and ask, how far can this kid go? The stats just kept piling up. Wembanyama became the first rookie to lead the league in blocked shots for a season, and he went out the year with the distinction of being the first player in NBA history to ever score at least 1,500 points, 250 blocks, and 100 three-pointers in a season. It was a rookie season to remember for as long as anyone can recall, ending with unanimous selection as the 2024 NBA Rookie of the Year. This was definitely more than a statement. Victor Wembanyama's rookie season in San Antonio with the Spurs have found their new world-class superstar, and the NBA its new phenomenon. Player profile Wembanyama. Victor Wembanyama is often hailed as a generational talent, a player whose combination of size, skill, and versatility has rarely, if ever, been seen before. Standing at an imposing 7 feet 3.5 inches barefoot with an estimated 8-foot wingspan, he's a towering figure on the court. But what makes Wembanyama truly special is not just his height, it's how he moves, how he plays, and how he impacts the game in ways that defy expectations.
Whoa. A 7'2" center that ruled the paint during the years 1991 through 2009.
Strengths, where to begin? Wembanyama is not just a big man, he's a big man who plays like a guard. His ability to handle the ball, shoot from distance, and execute moves typically reserved for much shorter players is what sets him apart. He can pull up for a three-pointer, create his own shot off the dribble, or drive to the basket with a level of fluidity that seems impossible for someone of his size. As LeBron James famously put it, everybody has been a unicorn over the last few years, but he's more like an alien. LeBron was right. There's something otherworldly about watching Wembanyama glide across the court, pull off a step-back jumper, and then sprint back on defense to block a shot with ease. Defensively, Wembanyama is a nightmare for opponents. His length and timing make him an elite shot blocker, able to swat away attempts at the rim almost effortlessly. But it's not just his ability to protect the paint that stands out. Wembanyama is also quick enough to switch onto smaller players and guard them on the perimeter, something almost unheard of for a player his size. His anticipation and basketball IQ allow him to disrupt passing lanes and alter shots without even leaving his feet.
Oh, with the left hand! Oh, look at KD's face!
However, no player is without their weaknesses, and Wembanyama is no exception. His thin frame has been a topic of concern, particularly in a league as physically demanding as the NBA. Opponents have been quick to exploit this, using physicality to try and wear him down. His lack of strength can make it difficult for him to box out effectively on rebounds and defend against stronger, more physical post players. There are also concerns about his durability. At his height, injuries can be a real risk, and some have questioned whether his body can hold up to the rigors of an 82-game NBA season. Despite these concerns, the buzz around Wembanyama has been overwhelmingly positive. NBA analysts and scouts have compared him to some of the greatest big men in basketball history. Some see shades of Wilt Chamberlain and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in his game, while others liken his defensive impact to Rudy Gobert and his shooting potential to Kristaps Porzingis, only with better ball handling and passing abilities. ESPN's Mike Schmitz even described Wembanyama as a blend of Ralph Sampson, Porzingis, and Dirk Nowitzki, a combination that seems almost too good to be true.
A little bit of the game the other day. They play again tonight, right? Yeah, he's like the 2K creative player.
Wembanyama himself has spoken about modeling parts of his game after Kevin Durant and Giannis Antetokounmpo, two players who have redefined what it means to be a forward in the modern NBA. But while he admires these players, Wembanyama is clearly carving out his own path, one that is as unique as his game. So, where does that leave us? Wembanyama is undoubtedly one of the most intriguing prospects to enter the NBA in years. His strengths are undeniable, and his weaknesses, while present, are challenges that he seems more than capable of overcoming. As he continues to develop and grow into his game, the question is not whether he will succeed, but just how high his ceiling truly is. Can he become one of the all-time greats, or will his potential be limited by the very things that make him so special? Only time will tell, but one thing is for sure. Victor Wembanyama is a player unlike any we've seen before.
He'd need a handful of championships, MVPs, Defensive Player of the Year awards, and a 10-year stretch of overwhelming dominance that's never been seen before.
At just 20 years old, Victor Wembanyama has already accomplished feats that many can only dream of, solidifying his place as one of the brightest young stars in the NBA. His journey from a promising prospect in France to a record-breaking sensation with the San Antonio Spurs is nothing short of remarkable. If you're excited to see where his career goes next, don't forget to like this video and share your thoughts in the comments.